Okay, hello Cloud Gurus and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture we're going to look at Route 53 and it is a lab, so you will need to log into the AWS console, but before we do that, let's have a brief overview of what Route 53 actually is. So Route 53 is Amazon's DNS service and allows you to map your domain names to things like EC2 instances, to load balancers, which we'll cover off a bit later, and to S3 buckets, which we'll also cover off a bit later. So Route 53 essentially allows you to buy a domain name. We could buy, say, hellocloudgurus.com, and then we'd be able to connect that domain name to 3 different backends, so either EC2 or to our load balancers or to S3. So let's go and log into the AWS console. Okay, so here I am in the AWS console. I'm going to go over to services and I'm going to go down to network. So it should be down here, and here it is under network and content delivery, Route 53 or Route 53, however you want to say it. So what we want to do is go ahead and get started now. And we're going to go ahead and create a hosted zone. And we don't have any hosted zones. What we might want to do first before we create this hosted zone is to go and register a domain. So we'll go in and register a domain and click on register domain. So now you need to choose a domain name. Now .coms are about $12. You can get something cheaper. Let's have a look at what the cheapest one is. So a $9 one. It's entirely up to you what you want to buy. You can see there's so many different top level domains now. Here's one for $8, me.uk. So I'm going to just go ahead and buy a .com. You can choose whatever it is you want. And then you can just type in here, we could do Hello Cloud Gurus. I'm pretty sure that is taken. I'm pretty sure I bought it from somebody, in another course. Maybe we'll do I'm a cloud guru.com. Let's see if that's available. Yes, it is available. So I'm going to go ahead and add it to my cart. Then I'm going to go down here and hit continue. Now we have to fill in all this registrant information. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. You can do this yourself. And once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and hit submit. Okay, so I have gone ahead and filled that out. I just need to agree to the terms and conditions. It's going to send me an email to the registrant email address just to check that I actually own it. And you won't be able to get past this screen until you've verified that email. Okay, so I've just gone ahead and verified that email. Let's just refresh the status here and we can see that it has been registered now. So I'm going to go ahead and hit complete purchase, and that has now purchased my domains. So it says, thank you for registering your domain to Route 53. I'm a cloudguru.com. What's next? Domain registration might take up to 3 days to complete. We'll send an email to the registrant contact once the domain is successfully registered. So you just click on Go to Domains and you'll see that this status is domain registration in progress. Now, it doesn't normally take 3 days. It depends what top level domain name that you use. I'm just going to pause the video and wait for this domain name to become available. Okay, so this is now available. Full disclosure, it was a long weekend over the over the last few days. This is a few days later, but you should be able to register it, within a few hours. It really just depends on the top level domain. So if we go back over to our dashboard and we click on hosted zones, you'll be able to see your domain in here. So I'm a cloudguru.com. Now what we can do is we can go ahead and go to our records sets. And this is where we create our DNS records. So if we go back over, we can create things like our A record. An A record is essentially, if you think of an old school telephone book, you used to look up Mr. Smith in the telephone book and you'd get their phone number. Essentially, when you're creating an A record, it's exactly the same thing. What we're doing is we're saying where I'mACloudGuru.com is going to go. So if we just click on Create Record Set, you'll be able to see the different types of records in here. So we've got A records, CNAME records, MX records, AAA records, etc. So an A record would point to an IPv4 address. A AAA record of quadruple A record would point to an IPv6 address, etc., etc. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a address and we're going to use what's called the naked domain name. So what do we mean by naked domain name? Well, we simply just mean imacloudguru.com rather than www.imacloudguru.com. And this is sometimes also referred to as the zone apex record. Now, in order to do this, we have to use an alias. If you're interested what an alias is, just hold your mouse over and it says specify whether you want this record set to be an alias for an AWS resource. An alias record set is similar in some ways to a CNAME record set. Well, one of the differences is that you create an alias for the zone apex. So we create this for the naked domain name. And this it basically is only supported by A and quadruple A records, so IPv4 or IPv6 addresses. So what we're going to do is in here, we're going to click in here and we've got our different targets. So you can have an alias target for an S3 website, for an Elastic Load Balancer application load balancer, Elastic Load Balancer classic load balancer, Elastic Load Balancer network load balancer, for CloudFront distributions, for Elastic Beanstalk environments, etc. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to go and create a load balancer, and then what we're going to do is put our EC2 instance behind that load balancer, and then we'll come back here and basically create the DNS name so that when people go to our domain name, they'll be able to see our little website. So let's go back over to services. We're going to go over to EC2, and we should still have our little EC2 instance up and running that we created earlier. I have no idea why, but for some reason I'm in Oregon. That was a little bit confusing. So if you do not see your instance, just check where you should be. I should be back in Northern Virginia, and yep, I can see my instance there. And then what you want to do in order to create a load balancer is if you go down to load balancing, you see it right here, and we'll just create, go to load balancers and click on that link. And you'll see that right now we don't have any load balancers in this region. So go ahead and create a load balancer. So there's three different types of load balancers. We have application load balancers, network load balancers, and classic load balancers. Now, application load balancer is when you need to be, basically you're using web applications for HTTP, HTTPS, and this operates at the request level. Network load balancers you would use when you need ultra high performance and static IP addresses for your application. So we're going to go ahead and create an application load balancer. In here, you might want to give it a name. So I'm going to call it my ALB, so application load balancer. It's going to be internet facing. It's going to be using IPv4. So in here we have our listeners. Now, a listener is simply what port our application load balancer is going to listen on. So HTTP is on port 80, and if you want to do HTTPS, you can do it as well, which will be on port 443. Just zoomed out my screen a little bit. If you don't want to use SSL, you can delete that. I'm going to take it off for now, so I don't want to listen on SSL. In here we have our availability zones. So where do we want our application load balancer to be based? I'm going to select all availability zones to give me maximum redundancy. And next I'm going to go ahead and configure my security groups. So it's going to give us this warning saying that it's not using a secure listener. In other words, we're not using HTTPS. That's fine. Hit next. And then we're going to assign a security group. So let's assign the one that we created in the last lecture. So we're going to assign our MyWebDMZ. And I'm going to go ahead and hit next to configure our routing. So in here, we're basically setting up route requests to the targets in this target group. So you can have a whole bunch of different targets and you can route requests, intelligently. It's entirely up to you. You might have like, web servers in one routing group. You might have application servers in another. You might have MySQL database servers in another, etc. So I'm going to create a new target group. I'm going to call this My Web Servers Group. And just going to do it on port on HTTP on port 80. The target type is simply whether or not the targets are going to be registered using your instance IDs, the actual ID of the EC2 instance, or using private IP addresses. I'm going to use instance IDs as the default value. In here we have our health check. So what is it going to look for when it goes and does a health check? So we're going to type in here the little web page that we created, index.html. I'm going to leave everything else as default, and we're going to go in and register our targets. So I'm going to add this to the registered group, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit review, and I'm going to go ahead and hit create. Now, the health check will take a little while to bring this load balancer in to service as healthy. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, and it's also going to take a while to provision. So I'm just going to pause the video and wait for this application load balancer to come up online. Okay, so that should hopefully be set up. Let's just hit refresh and we can now see the state has changed to active. If we actually go into the target groups, we should be able to see if what targets are healthy. So we can see here we've got a registered target. Here's our instance ID and that the status is healthy. So it has found that index.html. And so the very last thing we need to do is we need to go over to services. We're going to go back to Route 53, which is under Network, Content, and Delivery. And we're going to click on there. And what we're going to do is we're going to point our DNS to our application load balancer. So we'll click in here and we'll go, just click on the link. And you can see in here, this is our hosted zones. So we're going to create a record set and we're going to do an alias record. And in here, we'll be able to see the target. So here it is, my ALB. I'm going to click in there and I'm going to leave everything else as default and go ahead and hit create. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to open up a new tab and we're going to go to imacloudguru.com. Okay, so here we are. I'm just going to open up in here. I'm going to type imacloudguru.com. And if we minimize, there we go. It says Hello Cloud Guru. So we have now created a working website. It's behind an application load balancer, which is spread across multiple availability zones. And then when we go to resolve the name I'm a Cloud Guru, that's basically sending traffic to our application load balancer, which is sending traffic to our EC2 instance. So that is it for this lecture, guys. Hopefully you've learned a lot. In the next lecture, what we're going to do is we're going to log into our EC2 instance and we're going to show you how to set up a user so that they can access S3 using the command line. And it's very important to understand how to do that going into your exam. So if you've got the time, please join me in the next lecture. Thank you.